welcome to our chat. We have the power of three here today. And we thought that it would be fun for all of us to get together and do a chat about what's on the table these past couple months and go through some things that, some myths and some truths and maybe clear up a few things. And all three of us here think a little bit differently, but we all work through our heart. And so that's, your heart is your true connection to 0 point. Your heart is your connection to source, God, whatever you want to call it. And so we all try to work through that heart area to get the best possible intel that we can get. And a lot of what's going on today is about sovereignty and reclaiming our power. And so we're going to talk about, and there's so many other things that we were talking about before we started the video. So we're going to get into a lot of fun things. And these girls are like horses at the starting gate. They have a lot of stuff to talk about. And but I just wanted to start out with what I've been getting, because I work really closely with this planet, because I believe that a lot of what's going on involves this planet. I believe this planet is a living being. And so I work part in whatever information I get from spirit. And what's been really interesting, because I get a lot of signs and symbols, and so these signs and symbols tell me what's going on. And a lot of what I was getting is the big cats, and I'm talking about the jaguar and the leopard and the lioness and the cougar and the puma. And all those cats are symbolic of what's going on right now. And it is about looking in the dark. It's about going to places we've never gone before. It's about facing our fears. And it's about reclaiming our power. And that's what we're talking about today. It's and the lioness, I got the lioness this morning, and the lioness is about courage and protection and what it takes, what we need right now to take on what's going on out there, because it is not all roses. And so there's a lot of things going on today that we really want to talk with our perspective. And I know we did hit on God, and I think God is the most important aspect of this talk today, because there's a lot of miscommunication, there's a lot of confusion, and a lot of what they're doing today is really trying everything to get us away from the divine, from the source, from spirit, whatever you want to call it. And so reclaiming source, reclaiming spirit back in our lives is about reclaiming our power. And I think it's going to take the divine feminine to bring that forward. And I think a lot of that, we've been seeing that happen. And so welcome you guys, Sharon, Daphna, and Sylvia Malera.
Thank you.
You guys are great. And those who follow my channel have seen both of you before. And it's been a few years, Sharon, since you've been on. People are still watching those videos every day.
Especially now.
Especially now. Yes. So girls, where would you like to start? What is it that's foremost in your mind right now about what's going on, and what are you chomping at the bit right now about getting out to the public?
Well, who are you asking? Oh, by the way, I hear everything I say through your computer. Can you make it so I'm echoing through your computer?
You're echoing?
Okay, it stopped.
Okay.
There's something, yeah.
It's
I
the
just heard it
energy.
again.
It's the energy. The electronics have been nuts.
And actually, I'm glad you said that, Sylvia, because what we're dealing with here is AI interference 100%.
Yes. And if I get real scratchily, gravelly, I've been fighting that for a long time. And that's why I'm right by my microphone. It's been crazy. Okay. So we're on a hero's journey right now. And anybody that's an author or writer, we know what hero's journey is all about. And hero's journey, is all about going against the norm, and kind of being a nonconformist and trying to bring the truth. You know, the truthers are out there decoding the truth. And, you know, so is there something out there that you guys know that is the truth that is being misconstrued that you'd like to share that you think is very pertinent to what's going on today? Sharon, I
Well,
see you not shaking your head.
I'm nodding because
Nodding.
the huge misunderstanding is of God, the supreme power that governs the entire universe. We can't deny that we're under the control of something above us. I mean, anybody who thinks that they're in control of their lives fully is deluding themselves, because obviously your life can be taken at any time. You can get sick, you can get injured. We have to only just do good and do the will of God, which is good. So the big misunderstanding is what God is. And people think that God is a guy in the sky that's judgmental and angry. It is not a guy in the sky. It's the great spirit. It's the cosmic life force energy, the orgone energy that gives us life and is life. And so I want to clear up my understanding of God with everybody right away, because God is life. It's not a judgmental guy in the sky. And if we do the will of our creator, the life force, then we are doing good. And what's going on in the world right now is obviously we're not doing that. I mean, otherwise things wouldn't be so haywire. We wouldn't be under a global tyranny over a supposed illness, basically a flu. I mean,
The Roni. Somebody's calling it the Roni.
what is that?
The Roni. Yeah, the virus, they're calling it
Yeah.
the Roni. It's code for,
Yeah, because you don't want to say the whole thing and empower it, so you just make fun of
yeah.
it.
So,
Well,
yeah. It's like the elites. I call them the deletes.
the deletes. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they are not really the rulers of the world. And so I just wanted to put it out there that the biggest problem right now is because we're doing the will of Satan, something evil. And Satan, again, is not a guy with horns and a tail and a pitchfork. It's the force of evil. And we're not us three ladies, but many people are just giving into that now, especially out of fear. And we need to just dispel all that fear.
Yeah, and then it's not popular to believe in God. And if you mention God, even in the spiritual community, it's like very taboo, and
Mm-hmm.
people assume that you're talking about religion, but it has nothing to do with religion. It's about your own empowerment, because when you are close to God, you are empowered yourself. That you're unstoppable. Like there's nothing that can affect you, change you, shake you, because you're solid from within.
Yeah, the power comes through him into you. And you have that divinity in you, and you're able to have protection and lose all your fear, actually.
Right.
But, you know, it's hard sometimes with what's going on not to be afraid.
But I feel like that it's just a test, not so much a
Yeah.
test, but it's just like, okay, now walk it forward. Everything that you know, walk it, walk your talk, walk what you're saying, you know, and be the example.
Yeah.
And make that contagious.
And I think that's why they're working so hard to keep us from going within, even though this time that we've had, people should be going within. They want us to live of ourselves always for anything, for knowledge and not of ourselves for the divine, when the divine is within us. And we have to reclaim. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you cut out a little bit, though. You're cutting in and out.
I just got that message. Yeah,
It's the Wi-Fi.
I'm
It's the
unstable,
Wi-Fi.
guys.
They can interfere with that. They don't like us talking about this.
No,
But you know,
no,
that always happens, doesn't it?
it does. I remember the one time when they just totally turned us off.
Yeah,
They
when I was
shut
talking
us
about
right
earth
off.
pipes and they just
Yes.
cut the signal.
Yes.
I feel like it's the energy that we're being blasted with, like all that event energy, and we are conduits of electricity, so we're blowing it out. Because everything, even the cell phone, the kids' video games, everything's acting on the fritz.
Oh,
And
yeah. There's a computer virus going on right now.
Oh, there is?
Oh, yeah. I wrote a couple of articles about this. People think this is what I've been told. I'm either a genius or crazy. based on these articles I wrote. They're on my website, thekembo.com, and it coincides with this virus that they're saying is a human virus. Yeah, some humans got the flu and died from it like they do every year, and they've blown it out of proportion because they're actually covering up something going on behind the scenes. And my husband and I are Orgonite gifters. And when we put our Orgonite out into the world, it negates all that deadly energy that you're talking about from the cell phones and any EMF from the video game controllers, your Wi-Fi unit, all of this stuff. So we went into Silicon Valley and we just saturated it with Orgonite. And that's the heart of the tech industry. And this whole thing started up right after that. And it's escalated. And what I've seen is evidence that the reason everything's going haywire with the technology is that the AI that are actually running the show on Earth right now, the ones that we're fighting against, they're having a computer virus because of all this life force energy, because they need the EMF. They need deadly energy to live. They're not like us. They're inverted. They're demonic. And we went and saturated their stronghold in Silicon Valley with Orgonite, and they've gone haywire ever since. So I see evidence that what they're calling this virus, the reason they've shut everything down is because they're shut down. They've made it so we can't work and we can't go out because they can't operate. And they've outsourced it to us. Pretty weird, huh?
No, it's not. You're talking. What I just got right now was our vibration is rising because of what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And our computers are controlled by AI.
Yes.
And our computers are not compatible with our heightened vibration. So I think a lot of that could be that interference also.
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah. We're clashing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the energetic war. And that's what I wrote about in my book. It's about an energetic war between humans and the parasitic false rulers of the world. And the parasitic, there's my book. The parasitic controllers are not human. They are artificial intelligence, and they are stopped with our energy. Orgone energy is life force energy, and we emit it. We are life force energy generators. So we actually oppose them just through our being. They hate us. They hate us. They're silicon-based life forms. They hate carbon-based life forms, which we are. They hate the love of our hearts. They can't understand it. It destroys them. So they're trying to suppress us right now because they feed off of our negativity.
Are you raising your hand?
So I got something to back up what she's talking about. I have your Orgonite and your Tower Buster. And I know I have a little help of the scalar because I'm on the mountain, but last summer we were just getting inundated with the chemtrails. And so I would go out. I even took video. I have a video somewhere on my YouTube channel, but I would go out and I would work with the planet and I would work with the elements. And I could actually clear the sky above my house. And poor Salida down below would just be socked in. But so they really, really seemed like they had amped up the chemtrails. So what I did was I went out and I built a 30-foot in diameter spiral wheel out of stones. And because the spiral is just another word, spiral coil is another word, meaning kundalini. And the spiral is actually the cosmic energy. And so I worked with that, and my intention was bringing in the God conscious energy to help manage, help raise the vibration, help raise the awareness, the awakening, and start this disperse this low vibe crap that they're spraying in the air. And it was very interesting to see what was going on because it would clear the air and they would come back again. And it would clear the air. And it was like, I don't know if I'm putting out a beacon of light out there or what, but it was like they were all watching. She did it again. Get back out there. Get back. And
they go constantly. And just to clarify, they're not really spraying anything up there. My book goes into this. Over the years of learning about this, when you see chemtrails, it's not that they've amped up the chemtrails. It's that their death energy is ever present. And so when you see chemtrails, it means that the energy is more deadly. It's on the, so it's not that they they don't stop and start. They go constantly because they are an artificial intelligence computer program. All that stuff up there, it's not military, it's not human, it's the AI. And so
Right.
when you see more chemtrails, it's because they have the upper hand energetically. When they go away, it's because we have, and our Earth has the upper hand energetically. So the chemtrails are really just a visual cue to show us what's going on energetically. So we don't have to fear stuff falling, but when you see it up there, you want to flip the energy so that it goes away. It's a evidence of their interdimensional travel. They use the deadly energy to enter our realm. I know this is a very wild thing to say because people don't know what chemtrails are. They think it's a government plot to poison us. It's so much more beyond that. When we flip the energy towards the life-affirming orgone energy, they can't even enter our atmosphere. So when you see days where there's beautiful blue skies and almost no planes at all, I'm not just talking about no chemtrails, almost no planes, they can't even enter the atmosphere. And when you see a lot of them, the energy is more on their side. And by keeping us suppressed and miserable, we are not putting out our life force energy. And when we're happy and well and in touch with the great spirit, with God, we are repelling them. So it's actually an energetic war we're seeing.
Well, I agree with that 100%. Even though I realized that, I should have read your book. But
You will. It's complicated, to think about it. My book goes through it very slowly, step by step by step. So we start with just the weather war so people can understand what are they seeing with the chemtrails. It gradually gets more advanced to where you see the spiritual war that the chemtrails are just a visual indicator of.
Wow.
yeah. Well, see, that's why I felt intuitively, I felt that I could actually go out there and do something energetically instead of just getting really pissed off and, swearing at them.
That will
And
make them stick worse. Getting pissed
yeah,
off makes the chemtrails worse. And when you
yeah,
have love in your heart and you can get rid of them just like you did, just by putting that energy out there, you can do it. You can get rid of them. We are so much stronger than they are.
yeah.
And what an invitation to see that, to witness that, and to like share that evidence of your own power. And that's exactly what we're talking about. Like realizing
God,
what you can do.
Yeah.
like Sharon said, it's God at work, working through us
Right.
because what people need to do is change their perspective.
Yes.
They don't look at it as,
Yeah.
oh, look what they're doing to us. You look at it and go, guess what? I have the power to do it. Guess who I have backing me up?
Exactly. I'm a vehicle for God. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm getting goosebumps now.
Me too. That's so exciting. And what an invitation for this time for people to be at home, to go within and like reclaim themselves. Like it's an opportunity to do that, to sit with their kids and their, family members and like commune together and realize we have more power.
This is why it always backfires on them. So when the parasites get heavy-handed with us and they put the lockdown on us and say you have to stay home, it backfires on them because people are enjoying time with their families.
Right.
And yes, there are stresses to it, of course, like people being out of work. But the time with the family strengthens us. And also people have time to look into it. They're starting to do more research. There's a lot of time on people's hands to look into what's really going on. So it always backfires on the parasites.
To better themselves. My kids are learning how to cook and they're making me buy all these crazy ingredients. But I mean, it's fun and it's so cute to see them spark an interest that normally they would have never have even thought of because we were so busy running around activities and after school and pick me up and here and there and going everywhere and basically spending their life distracted. And now there is no distraction.
Well, and that's it. That's the distraction with work. Your worth is, you're not worth anything unless you work 60 hours a week. And so when we work as hard as we do, we don't have any time for spirituality.
Right.
When we go to meditate, what do? We fall asleep.
Or the mind wanders. You start to think of your worries. That happens to me
Yes.
sometimes. We have to get out of that matrix mindset with working. We're chasing wealth. The Bible makes a distinction about that. You cannot serve God and mammon. You cannot do both. You can't serve two masters, or you will love the one and hate the other. So if you're seeking wealth, you're not going to be seeking the spiritual life.
But you know what? It's interesting that I think we think that we're chasing wealth, but we're chasing self-worth.
That's true.
Because I think it's the illusion, like, oh, well, I need money to take care of my family. Well, really, is that true? Is that really true? Or is it your ego? Is it your worthiness that you're chasing? Because we're already worthy. We came here worthy. But then that's another thing to claim, your divinity, your worth, and your connection to your source, which is your power. And then you're so unstoppable, because when you know you're worthy, I don't need anybody to validate me. I don't need anybody to like my video, like my picture, tell me I'm cute. I don't need that, because I tell me I'm cute. You know what I mean? I don't need anybody to do that for me. My worth comes from me. And if you don't like it, that's okay. I love you anyway. Have a great day.
We do tend to value ourselves based on how many dollars we can put into our bank accounts. It's because this whole society is based on wealth. It's all based on materialism.
Yeah, like, who are you? What are you, show me, like, that's your value. Yeah, because when I was working in law enforcement for 20 years, that's who I was. And as soon as I got out of that life, oh my God, who am I without that badge? And then who am I not married? I'm not somebody's wife, because that becomes my worth. Like, I don't have that rock on my finger. So does that mean I'm worthless? I lost the badge. I lost the rock.
I got to know more about this, about your time in law enforcement. I hope you could tell us a little more about that and what made you leave it.
I didn't leave it. I saved a cop's life and I got fired for it. After 20 years of service, I trained everybody there. I won awards for my work. I thought, I'm solid. I'm doing my job. I took an oath. This is what I'm supposed to do. Regular day, go report a death threat. Okay, no big deal. Then they flip it on me and say, well, you got it. You received the threat against the officer on your cell phone, on your personal cell phone. And you're not supposed to have a phone at work, which everybody had it. It was like a don't ask, don't tell. And because, I have 4 kids. I run my household from my phone. You want me here 16 hours back to back? Then I have to have this phone, because these little kids depend on me. Did you do your homework? Did you eat? Did you feed the dog? And everything's recorded because it goes to court. So obviously you can't be yelling at your kid on a recorded line. And so, it was just ridiculous. But they wanted me out because I would not use my light for dark. It was very corrupt. And, just, you're a woman, fall in line, be cute, have sex with us when we want you to, and shut up.
Wow.
That's how it is.
There was some pretty scary stuff that was going on too, though, wasn't it?
A lot, yeah. That's so interesting, because I would get visions and I didn't understand them when I was working there, because I didn't know what my abilities were. So I just thought I was losing my mind. And then later came my awakening. After I got fired, I saw that it was a rescue mission from my team. Let's get her out of there. And that's when my awakening happened. And then I started seeing why I was taken out of there, and the darkness that runs that whole thing. And it's not just here in this tiny town. They showed me how the little government reflects Big Brother. It's the same. The rituals are the same. Their lunar event rituals, all that crap.
Wow.
And I'm at the border with those missing kids, with the tunnels, all that crap is related. And I was just stunned. Like, why are you telling me all this? What am I supposed to do with all this? So it's so interesting how we're dotted all over the world, because we're anchoring the light in the darkest places. And you have to be there, even though it's been a thankless, lonely job. Because I would wonder, why am I here? Because it felt like obstacle. I couldn't leave. Well, because I wasn't supposed to leave. I needed. And you don't realize what you're doing by just existing, just living, breathing, just you going to the store, going to the bank, your energy, you're blessing these people because you're a conduit of God, and you're the evidence. Oh, she can do it. Then I can do it. And then, so I feel like it's our job to spread that hope and to lift somebody beneath us up to our level, and then that's how we get raised.
Do you
I don't
think
want to
that,
hug the conversation, Denise.
do you think that, well, I would ask you because of your experiences though, what you just said about going out and about and how our energy just, it emanates to everyone. Do you think this has something to do with why they want to keep us isolated from each other and to have our faces hidden from each other when we are together?
I believe that that plays a big part because in the very beginning, when I was first fired, I received guidance that I needed to get on YouTube, and I was fighting it tooth and nail. Absolutely not. I wanted the ground to swallow me whole. I didn't want anybody to see me because, oh my God, I'm broken, wearing the scarlet letter of being fired. And then what had happened, you know, the scandal of it all. And I was told people need to see your eyes and hear your voice. And I did not want to. Finally, I relented and I did it because, you know, if you don't listen, they don't shut up. They just stalk you and don't let you sleep until you do it. So I finally, when I did it, that was such a blessing because I was doing whatever it is I was supposed to be doing, even though I didn't understand it. And then that's how I met my community, my tribe. We started uniting and forming relationships like Denice and I, and like, oh my God, my life just became richer. Then I just swapped the old corrupt people for the new enlightened people that are doing the same that I'm doing, making the planet better. And what a gift, what a blessing. So then I was told in the beginning, again, I didn't know what I was doing. They would tell me, you're gonna go somewhere, and then I would say, why are you sending me there? And they would say, because you need to walk around. And when you walk around, they wanted me to shoot light from my heart chakra, like the Iron Man symbol, and just shoot it out. They said, send it to everybody. Just whoever you see, send it to everybody. And this was in 2016. I thought I was losing my mind. And all of a sudden, my husband would suggest, hey, let's drive to Disneyland. Hey, let's go to SeaWorld. Let's go to the Grand Canyon. Let's go to Sedona. And I'm like, oh my God, it's happening. It's happening. And I would just do it. And then I would get told when I was at the movie theater, do it here, send it to everybody. And then I would hear myself telepathically whispering to them, wake up. And I would end it and just say, wake up. And I didn't even know what I was doing. It was just like autopilot. So now it's just a thing. And whenever I go to the grocery store, I do it. When I go to the bank, I do it. When I'm in traffic, I blast it out to everybody on the highway. And it's just become a thing now. So now I try to tell my kids to do it because I feel like even if you don't understand it, you're doing something because we're far more powerful than we realize. And we have far more abilities than we realize. So just with your sheer intention of, I'm sending them love. I'm sending them light. I'm sending them hope. Right now, everybody needs that hope, especially because the fear is palpable.
You're planting seeds.
Yeah. Well, we're wrapping them up.
Planting
now.
Seeds.
Yeah.
You know,
they're so scared.
Yeah. Well, we're really not supposed to do much more than that. You know, like if you listen to anything that Saint Germain would say about this, you know, we're not supposed to actually go on and take everybody on because we will pick up on their karma and then we will have that attached to us. So, you know, we're just supposed to plant seeds. We're just supposed to show them through how we live, how we are, how we act.
Yeah.
And, you know,
It's a sacred path. It's like trying to do somebody's, the way they would tell me is they kept telling me to mind my own business. Mind your own business, Sylvia. Stop interfering. Stop bullying. Stop. Because my thing was, I'll save you. I'll help you. I know the shortcut. I know the easy way. And with my friends and family and everybody, and they're like, stop it. This is a sacred path. Stop doing everybody's SATs for them. They can do their own damn test. Keep your eyes on your paper. And so it's like people like us, it's like we're in the classroom and we're finished with our Scantron early and we're just sitting there bored out of our
Scantron.
Remember the Scantrons?
Yeah, that's a blast from the past.
Yeah. And you just sit there bored out of your mind waiting for everybody to finish and you're like, come on guys, let's go.
What's a Scantron?
It's how you take those tests. You put the little, like you fill the little bubbles on the multiple choice and they put it through the machine.
with the
to grade the
Oh,
test.
okay.
Hey, I remember
Well,
dittos though.
I
We did
remember
have
yes,
dit.
ditto.
Okay, I
nope.
am old enough to remember dittos.
I
Oh,
remember.
yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. I had to take shorthand when I was in high school.
I did too.
Oh,
I
I
failed
didn't.
it.
I
Yeah.
I
like
would have.
I hated it. I had dyslexia. That did not make any sense to me at all.
like an
Yeah,
language.
yeah. Well, okay, so what do you think about the people like, the people, I don't know, Sharon, how you feel about words like star seeds and light workers and earth angels and things like that? People who are here, do you believe that there's people here who are actually here just to bring up that energy to help with what's going on right now?
Yeah, I don't give a name to it. I consider myself to be a servant, so I don't say light worker or anything like that because these terms they get kind of subverted. I'm not to say that there's anything wrong with these terms, but I do think there are people here that are here to serve, to improve things, to make the world better, and ultimately to flip the energy and bring back the power of God into the kingdom so that we can live the way we're meant to live. What we're doing right now is not normal. We think it's normal, but it's not normal. These 9-to-5 slave jobs and just the way we live, we're tied to these utility grids where we depend on that machine, the parasitic machine, for everything. I mean, whether or not we agree with them or think like they do or are fully under their mind control, we still depend on them for everything. So I think that, yes, there are people like us that are here to bring the light. And so you could call it whatever you want. I consider myself simply to be a servant,
I
here
love
to do that, the good, do God's will, clean this place up the best I can, just whatever I can do. And what I do is I gift Orgonite and I teach people about Orgonite because it increases life force energy everywhere.
And that's funny because life force, it's like oxygen. And it's interesting because that's what they're trying to rob us of now is that life-giving oxygen by
They
where
hate
you're at.
carbon-based life. They hate carbon-based life. That's why they have a war on carbon. That's why they're always talking about carbon emissions. They hate it. They're not like us. They don't want trees. They want the trees to be killed because they're oxygen generators. And they don't like carbon because it feeds the trees. It's a big psyop is what it is. There really isn't a carbon problem on Earth. Climate change is real, however. People would say I'm a climate change denier. I am not. Climates do change over time. Ups and downs, it's pretty normal. It happens in nature. Your doggy's here. Aw.
She has to go potty, so you guys talk, and then I'll be back after she's done going
Oh,
potty.
okay.
Okay, you keep
Okay.
going.
Well, I just want to say they do really hate our type of being, the carbon-based life form, and they do want us to suffer. And climate change does happen, but it's based on energy. It's not based on carbon. The climate gets hotter when the energy is deadly, and that's all caused by the parasitic energy, the DOR, which is deadly radiation. It's EMF. This is what actually makes the world hotter and causes drought and lingering pollution, not carbon. So we can undo all that and not have to worry about this type of climate change by eliminating the EMF or at least neutralizing it with Orgonite. And that brings down the temperature, it encourages rainfall, and it allows pollution to lift. So it's all energetic. It's a big lie about carbon.
Where would somebody put who doesn't know anything about Orgonite? Could you explain a little bit about it? Because I would like to know.
Okay, I actually have a piece with me right here. This is kind of a fancy one. Let's see if I put it in the camera. Can you see?
Yeah.
So in this piece of Orgonite, this is what Orgonite is. It's an energy device, and it puts out an energy field called Orgone energy. It's made with a crystal. This one has a smoky quartz crystal at the top. We use a copper coil. It's not necessary, but you can. That copper coil increases the momentum of the energy coming out, and lots of very fine metal shavings. Some of these metal shavings in here are actually so fine they're a powder. This layer here is iron, and it's literally powdered. This layer here is steel. It's not powdery, but it's just a nice addition. You could put any metals you want in there. And I've got brass at the bottom, which is also almost a powder. And at the base, I actually put additional crystals. This one has black tourmaline and kyanite and quartz points going in each direction. You could really put any kinds of crystals and metals in there, and it goes inside a catalyzing resin. And what happens is when the resin catalyzes against all these fine particulates of metals and the crystal, it puts out, it increases the energy already present in these crystals and metals, which is the orgone energy. The crystal has a memory. The crystal used to be alive. It was part of an ancient silicon world that was destroyed here on Earth before the carbon-based world emerged, which is what we have today. They have a memory of life, and they are like antennas and generators of orgone energy. When you compress them in that resin, it squeezes them, it activates their piezoelectric properties, and it increases the energy that already comes from the crystal. So if you notice when you hold a crystal, it makes you feel good and there's a good energy in it. When you put it in the orgonite with the metals, it amplifies that more times than I can even say.
Wow.
We put one piece of orgonite. I have a tower buster here, I'll show you. This one was actually made by someone else, not me. Ours are silver in color because we use aluminum. This one was made by someone who sent it to me. She used steel, like what I used I have all these black organites here today. It's the same thing, just very simple. It's got the metal shavings, the quartz crystals, the copper coil in there, and it's in a resin. When we put one of these near a source of deadly energy, that life force energy actually neutralizes the deadly radiation. So we put these by cell towers. Okay. And we have documented over 6 years now how every time we do this, and you see chemtrails and kind of flat clouds in the sky, every time we take the piece of orgonite, the life force energy, put it near the source of deadly radiation, all that stuff goes away. The clouds form into little puffs and then clear and the sky turns blue. So that's a very quick explanation of how the orgonite works. We can use it in our homes too.
Where would you put it in your home?
Okay, so in your home, if you have any sources of deadly radiation in your home, which I actually recommend removing completely, not just neutralizing, but if you have a Wi-Fi in your house and you have no choice because your family insists on it, you put it on the Wi-Fi unit or near the Wi-Fi unit, and it will mitigate the effects of the EMF, because this energy is actually the opposite of that. They're like, they fight each other. Mm-hmm. So ultimately, you don't want the deadly energy and you don't want that constant battle, you know? But if you are forced to live with it, then you could put this there to mitigate it, and it will smooth it out so as that EMF is coming through your body, it's going to do a lot less harm.
Okay.
A lot of people use shungite.
Yes.
So shungite is okay to use too, but you would want to use orgonite also with that.
Well, orgonite is the combination of things. So you could put shungite in here. While you were away for a moment, I was showing Sylvia the different components of this one, which has smoky quartz and a lot of dark metals, like I use the dark colored stones like the shungite and the smoky quartz, and this one has black tourmaline at the base, little crushed pieces of it, and selenite. I forgot to mention that. The dark colored stones tend to be good for combating negative energy. Although I will tell you that they all work. I mean, any kinds of crystals, any kinds of metals, they all have the same effect.
I love the shape. I believe that adds another layer of power to it. The pyramid shape.
It does, because the pyramid shape, my husband just brought me another one. He just brought one into me. The pyramid shape, this is all a Mayan pyramid.
Oh, wow.
The pyramid shape actually is a generator. So that's why mountains, if you think about it, a mountain like where you live, Denice, I live in the mountains too.
So do I.
Oh, okay, great. See, those are OR generators, orgone generators. The shape of the pyramid combined with all those minerals in the earth, it's putting out a spiraling wave. That's what orgone energy is. It's a spiraling waveform. It goes from earth into space. And that's why you'll see those lenticular clouds, those rounded clouds over mountain peaks. And that's why you'll see clearer air in the mountains. The clear air is an indication of healthy energy.
How interesting that we're each on top of a mountain, and how interesting about your spiral, Denice, that you were called to make.
Yes.
On top of a mountain.
Yes.
That's so.
Let me see. I might have a picture of a lenticular. Let me see.
When you see a lenticular cloud, they happen over mountains because of that pyramid shape of the mountain. They happen naturally. If you see them in other places besides mountains, it's an indicator that something's going on there energetically too. Like when we gift orgonite, you're sharing the screen. Okay. When we gift orgonite, we see lenticular clouds form, and you'll see in my book, I put a lot of color pictures in the book to show what happened. Time and time again, you'll see a lenticular cloud forming.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
And I always think
there
they
it
look
is.
like spaceships, so you can see, here it is. And some of them, I mean, some of them are ginormous.
Yeah, they look like
Ginormous. This was
UFOs.
yeah, this wasn't a very big one, but, and it's right on top of the mountain. I think that's Methodist Mountain right there, but yeah, so that's exactly what she's talking about.
And the mountains have crystalline structures in them too. When you watch the film, There Are No Forests on Earth, Sylvia, before we started, I mentioned this film to Denise. Have you heard of There Are No Forests on Earth?
No.
It's an amazing documentary, and it's hard to come by anymore. It got pulled on YouTube, but it was made by this very young Russian man. And I know that the spirit was speaking through him, because I don't know how a man, he's 23 years old, how he could speak so eloquently on the geological history of this world. But those mountains that we see, they were once giant silicon trees. The mesas, the ones that are sawed off, they were once giant silicon trees. And that's why the crystals and the rocks, all of the minerals of the earth, they have this memory of life. And that's why the mountains, besides being that pyramid shape, they're full of this ancient life form.
Wow.
And it's generating orgone energy still.
Wow.
It's like
Still our
Devil's
connection to
Tower.
something higher.
Yeah.
Devil's Tower is in, was it one of the Dakotas? I don't know if
It's in
South
Wyoming.
Dakota. Is it in Wyoming?
Hmm.
Devil's Tower?
Yes. Devil's
And
Tower
that
is one of those.
That's huge. That is one of those trees.
It's one of those trees. It's
Yeah.
called, the scientists call it a basalt cliff, which is a preposterous explanation. They say that lava came up out of the earth, went straight upright, and froze into perfect hexagonal columns,
Wow.
which is, it's ridiculous. Lava doesn't do that. The film, There Are No Forests on Earth, shows what lava does. And actually, I'm going to probably upload this to, we're going to start maybe a BitChute page, because YouTube is censoring a lot right now. But this is an amazing film. You can look on BitChute and you can hear there's a the original Russian version of it. It's not Russian. It's a guy with a very thick Russian accent. But these people made a video of it. They edited it with his permission, with a woman from Canada, Rhonda Fairman, doing the narration. And with her speaking, it's a lot easier for Americans to understand it. This is the version that was pulled on YouTube, and this is the version I think we're going to be uploading to our BitChute page. So when that happens, I'll let you know, Denise, and you can put a link here. But this film explains what happened here, and it was a cataclysm that you can't even imagine, when the artificial intelligence life forms came to this earth and destroyed the creation. So what we have today is beautiful, but it's a pale comparison to what it would have been.
Wow.
And yes, Devil's Tower is one of those perfect hexagonal columns. It's obviously a tree trunk. And in the film, you'll see the side-by-side comparisons of tree trunks, tree stumps as we know them, compared with these things. And you're like, oh my God, these are tree stumps.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw a movie, it was called The 12. And what they did was they went around the world and picked up 12 indigenous like shamans,
Ooh.
and they brought them. It was so interesting. And these are people that still live, they don't know anything about society. They don't know about how we live. They still live on the land. They still, everything is given to them from the land, and they brought them to the UN to have them. Yes, to have them. And I'm like, well, that was a big waste of time.
Taking fish out of water.
You know, but I mean, the UN, they're like, oh yeah, well, we'll pretend like we're listening to them and not, or, you know, I mean, but it was so interesting, because you think about the original races, how they still live like from the original garden, you know, the original world, the way the world used to be. And look
Yep.
at how we're closing in on them, and they're just pleading to us, people, you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, they look at our tall buildings and our airplanes, and they just don't understand it. And little help it did, you know.
Wow. How traumatic for them
Yes.
to come from somewhere so pristine to this.
And this is what we've done to our world, you know. And I say we, I'm not saying like, you know, you and I, but humans as a total, one beast is what it is. We've come together and we've made our own rules, and look what it's ended up as. And we've wanted to be our own gods. We want to rule ourselves. And the film also mentioned that. I keep mentioning No Forest. I just saw it again because I watched it several times. I just watched it again the other night. And, he said we wanted to be gods ourselves, and look at what a mess we've created. Because, these parasites, they took our garden planet and they turned it into a wasteland. And now the humans, he says, we've taken it and turned that wasteland into a scrapyard. So
Wow.
we really need to change what we're doing here.
Wow. The priorities, I think that a lot of people have lost sight of what's precious and what's important. And this is a redirection. This is an invitation to redirect and open your eyes and see what really matters. Because when you do lose the job, then what's left? Your family. And focusing on that, because we make the job so important. There was a session that I watched, a QHHT session, and the gentleman said, a lot of people hate their job. They curse their job. They hate that they have to go there. They complain about it. And he says what they're doing is they're poisoning the job with the hate. So then everything that comes from that job, which is supposed to bless you, you've now cursed, because now your home is cursed because you pay your mortgage with your money from your job. Your groceries are cursed. Your water that you bathe in is cursed. And it's like a cycle that you're just poisoning yourself with these negative thoughts. So he said, change it and be grateful for it. And then you're blessing yourself and you're just drenched in blessings. And I thought that was so interesting, because I thought we do that to ourselves and we don't even realize that we're doing that. Our own thoughts are poisoning us. And what an invitation with Venus retrograde. It just went retrograde in Gemini. Gemini is your thoughts, your self-talk, what you're telling yourself, what you're believing. And I feel like a lot of beliefs are dissolving right now because people are realizing, oh crap, that's not true.
Yeah.
What was
Belief?
I thinking?
Belief is the absence of knowledge.
Yeah.
Belief is the absence of knowledge. It's something you think, but you don't know.
And I think that they think, well, I know I used to, this is how I've always done it. You can freaking change it. You have a choice. It's a decision. And it's not hard. I think we tell ourselves that stuff is hard. Really, it's not. You just decide and then you do it. And then, okay, it's done. Now we're going this way. Now we're going right instead of left, even though I was going.
But we're so trained.
Right. Yeah.
We're so trained. It's hard to pull yourself out of that sometimes. I mean, I was thinking about it just in this last week. I'm thinking about how I was trained by my family to value money over everything. And I don't think that way now, but I still revert, I still think I judge, like you were saying earlier, I start to judge my worth based on that. And that's not a good way for me to judge my worth, because I'm really not good at making money. So if I'm judging myself on that, then I'm not going to have a good opinion of myself. But yeah, it's hard to get out of that training sometimes because it's so ingrained.
But it's possible. So I think we just need to remember that anything is possible, and it's just a redirect, like a diet, like anything. I mean, discipline is a gift to yourself. It's a gift of self-love, because I've been dabbling in that just to prove to myself I'm the one in charge. So as I claim my divinity, I'm claiming my power over coffee, over food, over French fries, over everything, over being on the phone, over being on Facebook, over, entertaining bullshit. No, today I'm not messaging anyone. Today I will reply, but I won't go message. And I'll just do that. I'll go on fasts of anything, because I want to prove to myself, number one, I can do it. Number two, I'm not going to die. And number three, I am in charge of coffee. Coffee is not in charge of me. And it is so empowering. So I invite anybody, just with anything. You could do it with bread, with cheese, with ice cream, with anything, because we're so addicted to everything. And it's like these things have control of us, but really they don't. You just reclaim it. Reclaim your power from it. And you become so free. and it's addictive because then you become addicted to your own power and you're like, I'm unstoppable. I can do anything. It's
Well, the first thing you
exciting.
got to do is you got to face your fears because we're afraid of everything. You know, the food that we eat, we're afraid of the water that we drink, we're afraid of the air that we breathe. You know, that's what they've been doing. You know, Sharon talked before about mind control. I mean, they've got us thinking that we have no power.
Yeah.
And
But I tell you, the ultimate fast, which most people would never do, is not just don't message anyone, but get rid of the smartphone forever and never use it again.
yeah,
I don't use
I don't
one.
have one.
And but I don't use a cell phone or a smartphone. Some people think, oh, I could just get a dumb phone. You don't have one?
I
You
have
don't
a
even have a
dumb
dumb
phone.
phone? Well, you
It's
know
a
what I
flip.
think?
It's the old flip.
Yeah.
You do
And
anything on it?
it's fine. I mean, what I do is I have a cell phone, but it's never on. I only turn it on when I'm out in the world if I absolutely have to call someone. That's
Right,
it. So
right.
yeah, I mean, flip phones are a little less harmful than smartphones. Ultimately, you don't want to be using one at all. And it's really something I just keep for emergencies. So that's the ultimate fast. And that's very hard for people, but you really regain your mind in a big way. Like you would be amazed at what happens when you actually just say, you cut it off completely.
Yeah.
Because it's a big distraction too. Yeah.
It's a big distraction and the energy coming from it. When I was talking about the energy of orgone and what Orgonite does, it's the opposite of what a cell phone does. The cell phone is hitting you with a very, very high frequency wave. It's digitized. It cuts right through you. It disturbs your natural resonance because your body, you're made of water. You're analog. You're not digital. And this fast signal just blasting through your body, it's interfering with your cell communications. It's why people get cancer. And it also is creating bad water in the body, and you're mostly water. So
Wow.
you want to, I mean, I know it's hard to do. The ultimate fast is you want to get rid of that thing because it's not just a distraction, which it definitely is, but the energy itself is rewiring your mind.
You know,
So
yeah, I've been invited to drink. I went to a friend's house and she offered me shungite water. And so I've been making my own. Basically, it's just shungite in a container with
yeah, I've
purified
done that.
water. And I'm
Yeah.
drinking that right now. And how
Yeah.
funny. I've been drinking it nonstop. And I didn't even know why. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just do it. And
It
how
gives it a good structure. It cleans the water. If you look at the experiments of Masaru Emoto, the water crystals and how they react to prayers and positive words, as opposed to how they react to negative words. And this is what I'm talking about with the actual radiation from the phone is creating bad water in the body. It's creating bad energy, miscommunication. And this is why, if you're used to it, you won't notice it so much. But if you're like me and you don't use one, and then you have to, like I had 1 week where I had to use it about 20 minutes to a half hour a day, broke it up into 3 segments. So maybe like 5 to 10 minutes, 3 times a day, because our internet went out and I had to get a data pass on this thing and use it. It was awful. I was a wreck. I was a vegetable. I mean,
wow.
such a minor amount of usage just to check my emails.
Wow.
That's it. Just
Yeah,
to,
it's a baby computer.
it's just the tiny little things I had to do with the cell phone for 1 week. And I had a terrible headache, even with the Orgonite, because it's so foreign to me to
Wow.
use this thing. So that when you detox from it and then you use it again, it hurts even more.
Well, I think that even if you don't get rid of the cell phone, because I mean, a lot of us can't or won't, just realizing that you have power and you can bless your food, because I started doing that in 2016 too, and I didn't know why I was doing it, but I think it's to build the momentum of it, because the more you do it, number one, you train yourself. Number two, you're thanking, you're in gratitude, and it just becomes automatic, and you're transforming your meal into a blessing. And then I do it to my coffee, I do it to my water, and you can do it to anything.
There's a shortcut to that, and that's blessing this planet because everything that we have comes from this planet.
Yeah.
And I do that every day when I go out and stand on my wheel. You know, I'm blessing the planet, I'm blessing the sun,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm bringing in the spirit energy, the cosmic energy, and so that takes care of everything.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that people can do, just our examples every
Yeah.
day, constantly. And it's what a gift to give yourself and everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.